Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Versus Stars podcast. How are my loyal listeners? Thank you for your continued support. And remember, click that subscribe button, everybody. It's an amazing episode because Christian De Matteo and James Lyons boards the mothership. You know them as the guys behind Fugitive Poems. Their coming book, Containment Breach Volume 3, is now on Kickstarter. Come on board as we go traversing the stars. Hello, Mr. Lyons and Mr. De Matteo. How are we doing today?
Good, Jeff.
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you so much. So you guys are releasing your third volume of Containment Breach from Fugitive Poems. What drives you both to continue with this series?
What drives us both to continue? What drives us, James?
So this is our now third book of anthologies. I've had a lot of success with it, and have Freudian slip there. Sorry. So
Important that everybody knows I've had a lot of sex.
Always important for every campaign. Make sure they know you're active.
Yeah. So we had a lot of success and have met a lot of cool people, and really forged some good relationships. That was really the point of these books, was to really get ourselves out there and out into the world so people could see what we can do, and also pulling in a bunch of other people and showing the best of the indie comic world. We pride ourselves on the quality of the books and the quality of the stories and the quality of the art, and it just keeps getting better and better.
We've teamed up with some amazing people, and we're excited every time as the products come in, and the editing process and working with them. And people want to make great stuff, and we want to make great stuff with them, and people have been wanting to come to us for that. It's been tremendous. As far as sex, I have 3 children. I don't like to say anything I can't prove, so I can only prove 3 times.
So is this one of the rewards on the campaign?
Sex?
Yeah. What tier is that at the moment, guys?
The sex tier is we're getting older, so it's only a $500 tier.
This has only become an OnlyFans campaign, apparently.
But what we discovered, it was apparently a no fans campaign. It was really
So now I have you curious about the answer to my next question. Apparently, so what have you learned about producing comic books through your previous 2 volumes? Apparently, add this as a tear, but beyond that, what have you guys learned about creating comic books?
Doug Wood has been like a mentor to us. Doug Wood did the Big Hype series. He did Maximum Security. That's not the name of it. I'm blanking on the name of it. He's awesome. And he told us when we did volume 1 very casually. It's called Quarantine Chronicles, because that's when it happened. And we wanted to do something. And we did it. And I noticed that it was hard to get one of the particular participants to get their stuff in on time, but I wasn't thinking too business-mindedly about it at the time, and we were just like, yeah, what the hell, you should have it in by now. And then we did volume 2, which is Myth Reborn. By the way, what you're looking at here is a freak edition. Look at this. Nobody's seen this, only in my office. Mixum, which is an amazing printer. This is the one that got away from them. They printed a Siamese edition. It's 2 of them jammed together in a really bizarre way. So I use this for reference. But it looks good like this, right? But on this one, Doug Wood told us, he said, well, if you're going bigger, you're really going to want to have editors on the stories. And I'm like, wow, the people know what they're doing. But luckily, I didn't listen to myself. I listened to Doug and James, actually, because I said to James, yeah, and James was like, no, we're going to do this. And James, the art director, I'm the editor-in-chief. Mark Capitelli is the senior editor. And we have discovered that everybody needs to be kept up on, including ourselves, because production's a thing. This is art and business colliding with each other, right? Mm-hmm. And having a motivating voice and encouraging spirit, and also someone who is going to say to you, hey, what the hell, when that's what needs to be said. We found it works well, and we've had really good success. We have you said there's not a kid-friendly show, so we have a no asshole policy at Fugitive Poems. And we lead with that. When we bring you onto the project, I have written up, like it's legally part of our thing, the no asshole clause. If we love what we do, this is what we love. This is our passion, making these comics. And if interacting with you is not a positive part of my day, well, I have another job and I have a family and a mortgage. I don't need any other shit. We're done. And pretty much almost everybody has responded positively that we all have fun. Some people get behind on stuff. It's usually an innocent reason. I get behind on stuff sometimes. But I got to tell you, putting these two together, because we did volume 3, which is Of Clouds and Ether, and volume 4, which we haven't said the name of yet. We did them together because we had so many people. We did 2. Talk about wild editing. We did 2 books at once, which we survived, which is a big deal. But we got the stuff in, and we've got beautiful, high quality, great stories. Like, it's not just the art, it's not just the script. These are high quality stories. I think that we've learned a lot, and I say that based on looking at these 2 volumes 3 and 4. I'm proud of what we've done, and I'm proud of the people we work with. I'm proud to know them.
So if there's a no asshole policy, does that include you both as well?
We have a very clear loophole there. It does include us. We don't treat anyone with disrespect. We don't treat anyone poorly. We don't talk to anyone in a way that people shouldn't be talked to, because this is fun and we love it. So absolutely, it does include us.
So
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
It's always a give and take. You can't shit all over somebody and expect them to treat you with respect. So yeah, it goes back and forth. We have disagreements. Sometimes Christian and I even have disagreements, but it always comes back together because you're doing what you want to be doing, and it hurts a little less when it's part of the creative process and it's doing something that you really want to do.
So when you're giving people advice as the editor, how do you differentiate, let's say, a nudge versus a push versus a punch, on how you're asking people to alter their works?
Ooh. A nudge versus a push
versus a punch. Yes.
Well, I could talk to some of this. Christian and our editor Mark are more on the front lines of this, but Christian tends to play the good cop role, and Mark has earned the moniker the Decapitator. His name is Capitelli, so I came up with that one, and he's had to. I think he's the one who punches. Christian is he's a good politician and can even like stick it to you and still make it feel like it was compliments and so forth. But when it comes to we have to really clamp down on someone. It's only happened a couple times. We've just put Mark on, and Mark's an imposing figure. Even outside the room, he's even on Zoom camera, he's like 6'6" and has this low voice, and he's just like, okay, now we're going to do it this way, and that usually tends to fix things up. But Christian's very very good with the I guess the politics of it, making it sound like a good thing, even though we need something out of them. We need them to change something, also it's always for the benefit of the book. We shoot really high for the quality of our book, so that's our ammunition. We can say, oh well, we let this go with all these other people, but you got to do this. And no, we have a certain way that we do it, and it shows in the final product. So that's where it stands. And people that want to be with us now, we now have 2 books to show, soon to be 3, and we can say, hey, here it is. You can be in this book. So that definitely carries some clout too.
When I come at you angry, we're done. Mm-hmm. When it's pushed past, because it means you don't have the love of the work. You're not doing it. And by the way, and this is so important. It's never, as an editor, it's not the love of the work that I love. You tell me your world, you tell me your story, you tell me your rules of your world, and I'm going to work with you to make that happen. It's when you start pushing against your own stuff and the quality of what you wanted and you're not here for it. I mean, we're working our butts off to get this art out there, and we want to be with people who are doing the same. And I got to tell you, we are. Our fugitives are, man, we found a damn good group of people. I'm so proud to know everybody that we know.
So how were the participants in this volume selected?
Nepotism, bribery. No, we put
And
out
an evaluation of their profile pics.
Everyone has to be worse looking than us, so that
Again,
we
for the sex tier.
That's right. We put out a call out into the universe and every platform we possibly can. I give them my email address. I mean, this is a down and dirty thing we're doing. And we get together, and me and James, and we look through the quality. As you know, every one of these books has a theme, an umbrella theme. There's no genre. We're not writing a horror book. We're not writing Volume 3 of Clouds and Ether is a sci-fi book because it became a sci-fi book. That's what came in. But it's all the subgenres of sci-fi. It's not one kind. We've got neo-noir, we've got techno-noir, we've got cyberpunk, we've got fantasy, we've got high science fiction, we've got you name it. But we didn't set out to make a sci-fi book. We came up with the concept of Clouds and Ether, and we wrote to people that, in this volume, we're thinking about what's above the clouds and between the ether, and musica universalis and philosophical concepts, and you could have gone in any direction with it, and people did, but it is generally within the sci-fi umbrella. But our next book, people might think it's a horror book, and there's a lot of horror, but not all. We don't tell people what to write, and we don't look for pitches. Unlike all these other anthologies, what we do is we just put out a call for talent. Show me your best scripts or made comics or drawings. James and I get together, we pick the people that get us going. We want to put out into the world the stuff that we'd want to pick up. And that's important. And so James and I have very similar tastes, and then these different niches that we've been introducing each other to. And we are, well, what fits into all of that? He gets me to see something in a way I might not normally, and I get him to see that. And then there are things that we're both like, yes, absolutely.
Or the other way around. Like, I'll look at some artwork and, Christian will say something inspiring about it. And even though I didn't get into it as much. And I think also our teaching background helps, because sometimes we can, we look at a range of people. Not everyone's a professional. Not everyone's working for Marvel or Image and that sort of thing. We have some people that are kind of brand new, but having that teaching experience, we're able to kind of look at a portfolio and in sort of a different way, and maybe even see potential. And I really think that we've had some people, maybe the portfolio wasn't the best, but they really stepped up. Particularly in this book, I think one of my favorite stories was one of the ones that was very kind of iffy on the portfolio. We were, because we've had a lot to choose from, but we're glad that person came in and went there, because we're really looking for the person that nobody knows about, someone out of nowhere who can create awesome stuff in their studio and put it into a book.
One of the goals of Fugitive Poems is to raise the banners of everyone we work with, and of people who are not being seen, who should be. We've got creators from these incredibly diverse backgrounds, diverse walks of life, from literally around the globe. Containment Breach comics are around the globe, which is so cool to me. There are people in India with copies of Containment Breach, and we are looking for, you can't get published till you're published, right? So we said, well, fuck it, we're going to publish people. And we've had people go on from us to Marvel and DC, ultimately, volume 2 and 1, but even to lots of other companies as well, and keep working with us. Ben Humanek and Travis Hill have great stuff going on right now, and Matt Battaglia has a great book coming out called Haas on Fire, which is on Kickstarter right now, but it's also on Amazon. Jay Chic has got Hush Ronan from Band of Bards out in stores right now. We've got Jeff Barand did Ghost Planet. We've got so many people that we wanted to raise their banners along with ours, and just be, hey, look, there's awesomeness out here, and it's getting seen. I'm so proud of that. But the thing I'm most proud of is that if you pick up one of our anthologies, it doesn't suck. There are so many shitty anthologies out there, or you got 3 killer stories, and then 2 really good ones, and then right? Our goal is that every story is a banger, and it might not be your banger exactly, right? But you'll be able to read and say, you know what, that was really well done, and I enjoyed it. These are my 3 favorites, but I can't say that any sucked, and that's my goal: is for someone to have a Containment Breach in their hand to be able to say, I can't say any of these sucked. They were all fun. This thing isn't quite my bag, but it was really well done, or they were all great.
We're also happy that the anthologies have really come a long way since we started doing them. They're becoming very popular, becoming popular over TV and Netflix and so forth. So we're happy that sort of that way of introducing media in short bursts is becoming a lot more popular. So it's nice to have that kind of like the best of the best in our anthologies and be kind of on that cutting edge of the shorter format series stuff, which I think is cool.
Yeah, if you're a Love, Death, and Robots fan, or Black Mirror, or you want to go back to Heavy Metal Magazine, or Aeon Flux, like MTV Liquid Television, right, or Twilight Zone, that's where we live. Just these awesome bursts of Ray Bradbury-esque insanity.
So, how for the participants in the anthology, what percentage are returning fugitives, as it were, and how many are new people?
Jeff, I think I've told you I'm not good at math.
The
majority.
I'm gonna say about 65% are returning.
Are returning?
Maybe a little lower than that.
Yeah, I think it's like 60% new, 40% returning. Neither of us are great at math.
But the fact is, people actually did come back to you guys.
Yeah, maybe 50-50. Oh, a lot. Yeah, and we've had a lot of people that wanted to. Ben Humanick was actually supposed to be in this volume, and then had an opportunity come up for something he had to jump on, but which is Bro D, Can't Be Broken, which is from Band of Bards, and it's out now, and it's awesome, and I can't recommend it enough. He was in volume 2, but Travis Hill, who's got Techno Nights coming out from Dauntless, and a couple of other big pieces, including from Band of Bards, he's in volume 3, and he was in volume 2. Nicholas Doan is going to be in volume 4, and he was in volume 2. But we also have and Dustin Luke Nelson. Let me say this: Fugitive Poems offers editing services. If you want script editing or art editing, we do that. So I'm going to do the dumbest thing for a businessman right now. Another incredible editor that you can get. All the pots and pans just fell in the kitchen. Another incredible editor that you can get is Dustin Luke Nelson, who's a hell of a writer. He just put out Magda Skeleton Maker on Kickstarter. It was a success. He edited our story, Thermoclines, in volume 3. Working with Dustin has been an absolute thrill, and him and Gabe Martini are returning. And actually, they don't know this yet. They're about to find out right now. They're heading off volume 3. They don't even if you watch that, you'll find out. First story, Sleepstream. It's wild, colored by Jack Fantoni. So we've got a couple of people like Jack that are returning, and then we've got a bunch of new people. We got Patrick Hayes and Chase Bishop with Kyler Merrill did a techno cyberpunk story that is so damn cool. We've got Camilla Sims working with a returning fugitive, Leland Bjerg. We've got Patrick Hicks on this. We've got some incredible people. It's a really solid mix. We want that. We want fugitives that work with us, and fugitives that join, and we just want that to keep happening so that we keep propelling each other forward.
So, as you mentioned, many of the stories are in the anthology or kind of sci-fi horror. Why do these genres mesh so well together, and what is there to fear in what we see in science fiction?
Ooh, we'll give that to James.
Let's see. So we have an interesting mix of light and dark in this book. Our intention was to sort of switch off on these, now that we're having enough that we can kind of lead off from the last one. We wanted this one to be not lighter, like not lightweight, but have a different sort of feel. The sci-fi in here. There is some gore and so forth, but it's not the same sort of horror that you might expect. And I'm trying to think, Christian, do we have any specific stories that? What's the scariest story we got? It's not ours this time, surprisingly.
No, ours is the most disturbing again, but not the
Yeah,
scariest.
not scary.
Rick Richardson's a dear friend of mine. That was just a shout out. And he handed me the Incal years ago by Jodorowsky and Mobius. And this book has and that stayed with me. And thank you, Rick, for that. It's got that kind of feel. What's the scare? Fading is psychologically pretty scary, conceptually. I don't know what the scariest is. It depends on the moment. Sleep Stream's got some real intensity to it, but it's joyous overall. Actually, Jeff, I think that's kind of the weird thing about this book is that this is a joyous book. Now, darkness makes me joyous as well. There's my emo statement for the day. But I love like really messed up endings or bad things. I don't know why. I thrive on that. We can bring that up with my therapist. But this book, there is a life behind it. Like the bad things that happen is very revenge driven. Like you're happy for it, and the good things that happen are bright, and it's dark and wild and lush and exuberant all at the same time. So I think sci-fi and horror work because it's the idea of the future. What's more terrifying than the future? Right? But the future could also be batshit crazy in a way you never expected that you love. And I think that this book taps right into that vein.
So is each story designed as a one-shot, or some of these stories going to continue to future volumes? How is that made? Those decisions made?
That's a funny question after something James and I talked about recently.
Yeah, that's funny. Very, very recently we talked about
that. Right now, all Containment Breaches have thus far been one-shot stories. I happen to know that the great Casey T. Allen, writer of Bigfoot Knows Karate and Voodoo Child, has an entire, and Casey, I'm shouting you out publicly here. I happen to know that Casey has an entire sequel idea for the story he did with Big Jim Coffin called A Home Run, which is awesome. It's a really cool sci-fi heist story. Like Jack Kirby is looking down on it going, yes. It's got, not because it steals from him, it's like a natural heir to that vibe that Kirby had. I love the story, and I happen to know that Casey has a sequel idea for it, and we certainly wouldn't turn against that. We wouldn't say no to something like that. I love continuing stories. Very important to note here, Big Jim Coffin is not his name. His name is Jim Coffin. But the first time I saw it, my brain put the word big right in front of it. I've gotten his permission because it's just a badass name, Big Jim Coffin. And my hope is that his experience with Fugitive Poems causes him to have to go by Big Jim Coffin forever in the future. That's really my big goal here.
All right. So when does Volume 3 reach Kickstarter, and is there a notification page up yet?
Pre-launch is on, and we are rocking pre-launch. If you could get to our go to Kickstarter, type in Containment Breach. There are two projects there. One is Myth Reborn. That was our previous one that did great. The other one is Of Clouds and Ether. Go there and click Notify Me on launch. The more people we get to do that, the higher we are in the algorithm, the bigger our launch day will be. And it's already looking terrific, but we want more. We want more. We want more. Right now, Band of Bards has Amongst the Stars on their Kickstarter, and they're doing great. And they've got Travis Hill and Ben Humanek and Vitaly Kilchenko. Vitaly Kilchenko is a Ukrainian artist working in Kiev now. We have 2 stories with him. When he can get us internet, he sends us stories. And he is living in the middle of a literal war zone, something we only use as an expression. And he's popping out incredible art and making statements. And man, he's in Amongst the Stars right now, and he's going to be in volumes 3 and volume 4 of Containment Breach. So Amongst the Stars is going now. You're into that. You want to jump right over to Containment Breach volume 3 of Clouds and Ether. Follow us because there's more of that goodness. Travis Hill, more of that goodness in there. And we go live on my parents' anniversary, February 28th. And they're still married, right? It's a long time, so I figured it'd be a good date to go with.
It's obviously lucky, right?
It's got to be, right? I mean, I'm the result. It's got to be lucky.
So, what have you learned about creating a great Kickstarter? Since this is obviously your second attempt at Kickstarter, the first one went well. So, what kind of tips can you give our listeners about creating a great Kickstarter?
What do you think?
You're the guy on that. You're the
Oh,
Kickstarter.
I was handing it off to you.
Huh?
You know,
I'm laying out books, dude.
I'll tell you, one of the keys is a gentleman who's been a big help to us, and his name is Jeff Haas. I don't know if you know him.
Thank you.
Jeff's had some great advice for us. You know, we did the first one. I can say it. It's not one of my favorite expressions of the young people. It's not a family-friendly environment here, so I'm going to say it. Fuck around and find out is one of my favorite new expressions, because it's kind of how James and I have always existed. Fuck it, I'll do it myself. And we did that with volume 2, and we funded in 36 hours because of the product. I mean, it's the product. You look at this, you see, and I'm gonna shout him out because he won't. James Lyne's art, this cover, I think sells itself. This is Black Sabbath cover. This is metal. This is awesomeness. And then you open the book and discover, well, there's a freak edition, right? But you discover the incredible art and wildness inside. And we put that up on the Kickstarter. You know, something I'm gonna call him out again. Doug Wood told us, I said, what do you write? How do you come up with the good stuff to write? And he said, fuck what I write. I put up pages from the comic. And that was great advice. So that's important. I just want to show, I want people, I think that when you see what we're doing, when you see what's in this book, you're going to want it, because James and I, our stories, we put 1,000,000% into them being great and like something you've never seen before. And every one of our fellow fugitives has done the same. We've got a writer in here named Tay Belloc, wrote a story called The Star People. Iacopo Callisti drew it. Aubrey Lynn Jepson lettered it. And I got tears in my eyes when I read that story. I the first time I read it, the script, it got me. And the first time I saw it final, because Mark Capitelli was the editor on that. And I said, oh, let me see what's going on with that. I wept. It was absolutely beautiful. As Above from Patrick Hicks and Jack Van Tome. Man, it's powerful. And then we've got the Hill Brothers. Wait till you meet the Hill Brothers, who did a comic called Hemlock, which 50 years of Heavy Metal Magazine would murder to have this story in Heavy Metal Magazine. It is unbelievable. It's a wild and weird and just insane and fun. I describe them like at the front of your high school teacher, and there's the kid with the earrings and the leather jacket who's in his notebook, and you know he's not paying any attention to you, and you're the crappy teacher who walks over and says, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Hill, are you paying attention? And you flip open his notebook to shame him for what he's been doing in there, and it's the world's greatest comic that he's been doing in a lined notebook. That's the Hill Brothers, and that's what they're making. It's awesome. We've got great stories. So I think the key is to outreach, to make as many people see it as possible. And Jeff is the man, folks, who knows how to do that. On our end, make a great product and let people see it. When the Kickstarter goes live, right now you can go to fugitivepoems.com. And if you click on Of Clouds and Ether, Containment Breach 3 of Clouds and Ether, you can get panel peek at every major store, not everything in the book, but every major story in the book, you can get a panel peek. When the Kickstarter goes live on February 28th, there are full pages, a page from each comic in there, and you're going to see what this is. Also, starting this week, we're going to be releasing our Containment Breach 3-minute meets. And they are never 3 minutes, because, I mean, I'm the guy doing the interview. So the idea was we'd do 3-minute videos with all the creators from the series. They're like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, but we still call them 3-minute meets. And you're going to get to meet everybody.
I just edited the first one. It was like over 30 minutes. That's why I'm shaking my head. It's my job to cut out all the extra Christian nattering in between. Okay, well here he is. He's going off on a tangent. Just pop that out.
You've given me ultimate freedom because now I know you're going to cut it. I can go as long as I want.
I did the one with Mark, and the whole second half is like Mark talking to himself. It looks like, because I had to keep cutting Christian out.
So what are some of the great rewards that pledgers can get by pledging to your Kickstarter?
Well, we were just working on that last night. We've been poking around other people's campaigns and trying to come up with ideas. We've shot out ideas for culling books, taking the line art from some of the work and making like a printable coloring book. We finally dragged out some of the original artwork that I had, which I didn't even think I had, but I had more than I thought, of our story in 3, which is thermoclines. That'll be one of the higher tiers. We're going to have a couple of tiers for to have Fugitive Poems review your script or review your art, to do a portfolio review, something like that, or something specifically, about someone who has a comic in the works, maybe a young person or someone who's kind of new to the thing, to get the once over, the Fugitive Poems once over, basically the same kind of stuff that we do with our contributors, to evaluate their work and so forth. So there'll be a couple of tiers for that, one art centric, one writing centric. Well, I say there may be, we haven't stuck them all in stone yet. We've been working with the idea of we can't quite figure out whether we want to have playing cards, like a poker deck, with some artwork going back all 3 volumes now, eventually 4 volumes, basically having a continuous art deck and having a couple of cards that you can get, like a mystery card set that you can get in one of the tiers, and you'll get 2 or 3 of the cards that we're going to do, or sort of more like a Pokemon trading card sort of thing. Not really a game, but something in that something that looks a little like a Pokemon card. We haven't really decided which. And what else did we come up with, Christian?
There's another really cool idea that I don't want to say yet because I'm in the midst of making it happen, if it's going to work. But I want to say this. And James, I'm going to ask you, would you mind showing Jeff one of your pages, one of your original production art pages?
Yeah.
James is like, I don't know if I got anything. And he starts lifting up these pages. We're in a meeting. They're amazing. And this is the shit that it's so nice to be able to curse on an interview. And this is the shit that as a comic lover, this is the step that got you to what you got. It's amazing. His art is so good. And I get these text messages. One of the highlights of my life as a comic maker with James is I get these text messages with little pictures he's taken of things he's drawing. Hey, is this anything? And I'm like, it's just magnificent. That's all. And this is a page from Thermoclines, which I wrote. Cool. Tom Lynett lettered, the great Tom Lynett. But these are James's production art where he's, I don't know, I was just playing around here. And I'm like, this is better than 98% of what you'd see anywhere else. And what I will say is we're going to do, I think, our first, look at that. Oh, man, I love that page. I mean, that's cool. It's him just playing around.
So it's not playing around, but these are, I did our story a little bit different this time. In the last book, Containment Breach 2, I colored them traditionally as well. I did some watercolors on them. This time our book is all digital coloring. So it's definitely production art, like, things that have changed a little bit, or I'll shuffle them around or reposition them. So it's like working documents that we have. But you do have the in some cases the artwork is exactly what I mean. This one, Christian's been popping this image around up here. It looks different colored, but that's the original ink that's used in the book. Actually,
very cool.
Quite a bit of this one is. This is one of my favorite images. But for instance,
that's awesome.
I didn't like the face on the kids. I did finish him up, but the guy with the gun there, he's that's pretty much exactly how he appears in the story.
So that's
Very
going to
cool.
be one of our major tiers, is the opportunity to have some of James's original production art. You know, nobody wants anything from the writer.
I know. Trust me.
I always put a signed script level up, which means I'm going to hit print and it's going to come out on regular paper on my crappy printer, and I sign it. I think two people did it last time. I always put it up there just to make myself feel better and to make James feel better, because really, when we talk rewards, it's all on him. Nobody wants anything from me. I came up with an interesting idea. Go away. Look at what this guy drew.
As a writer of works as well, I know exactly how you feel when I remember every time I'm at a table, they come up to you, "Oh my God, you're the artist?" "No, I'm the writer." They go, "Oh, okay." They walk away. It's like, screw you, I'm the artist.
I just walk in and I hang a clothesline for people to do really cool stuff on. I'll leave.
So what are the dates for the campaigns running from what date to what date?
28th to March 30, the 31 days in March 31st. I never learned that rhyme, but that's what it is.
All right.
February 28th, March 31st. It's going to be awesome. There are going to be first day deals. There are going to be first day is going to be most probably a huge price drop on one of the top tiers, I might actually only make that 12 hours. I don't know. There's going to be if you're paying attention, you're lucky deal.
All right. Very cool, guys. Thank you so much for talking with me. So Containment Breach on Kickstarter. Thank you guys so much. This was an awesome conversation, guys.
Absolutely. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having us on again.
Thank you.